Hey friends, I'm Julie here over at the Doll Coven, and today's video is going to be on American Girl dolls, and specifically my experiences with them. Color me surprised that I have now not one but two, and we'll get into that. But yeah, I don't know how long this is going to be, so feel free to, grab a cuppa or a snack. And, I'm going to be honest about some of the opinions I've had around American Girl dolls. So, for those of you who might feel like you're going to take it personally or get offended, um, feel free to skip this video because why watch a video that is going to piss you off? And this is not meant to be a roast on American Girl, not at all. I mean, if you saw the title and the thumbnail, then you know that I now own an American Girl, well, two American Girl dolls. So, but I want to be candid about my journey with this doll brand that I never thought, ever thought I would have in the doll coven. I've said before on this channel that, we all have our unique and individual preferences when it comes to dolls. So, for example, I collect Blythes, and a lot of people do not like them and find them creepy and whatnot, and I just don't take that personally. So, yeah, I plan to just kind of be upfront and direct about kind of where I've been with this brand and where I am now. I have talked before on my channel about how I became familiar with American Girl, which is through Matt's family. So the women in Matt's family, they own American Girl dolls. So my mother-in-law owns one, my sister-in-law has some, and so does her daughter. And so for Christmases and birthdays, they would have all of this American Girl stuff on their wish list. And I, would go ahead and purchase some of these things for them. And that's how I became exposed to American Girl. Prior to that, I was not a doll collector. I knew nothing about American Girl because they became popular after my time. With this exposure to American Girl, I decided immediately that these were not for me, not my thing, despite my mother-in-law wanting to gift me an American Girl doll. So she kept asking if I wanted one, that she would buy me one, and I kept politely refusing. And it got to a point where I started to feel a little bad about that because it seemed that this was something she really wanted to do. And, having visits over at the in-laws, my mother-in-law had all these American Girl catalogs, and they were actually fun to look through. I had a lot of fun looking through them and talking with her about these dolls and just, gosh, looking at all the accessories. And so, yeah, I think she really just wanted to get me one. So finally, I said, okay, but I do not want an 18-inch, which I know is like the popular type of doll under American Girl for especially adult collectors. I said, I don't want an 18-inch. I want actually a welly wisher, which is not nearly as popular with adult collectors. At the time that I opted for her, I felt like her face mold was cuter than the molds that I was seeing for the 18-inch dolls. I felt like several of the 18-inch molds were a little bit uncanny to me. Not all, but a number of them. And so I liked the look of the welly wishers and their face molds. I thought that Emerson did in fact look Asian-ish. And I also really liked that her body was all vinyl as opposed to the 18-inch dolls where you have the vinyl for, the head and the limbs, but then the actual torso, this body part, the central part is fabric. It's the cotton kind of plushy material, and that just really broke my brain. And I wasn't about that, just from a, like a a visual aesthetics point of view. So my mother-in-law got me Emerson. Here she is. I actually have her back in her stock outfit, and This was 2018 that I first received Emerson. And interestingly enough, American Girl was ultimately what started my doll collecting, because even with Emerson, I just wasn't into these dolls. Um, and I thought she was cute and I thought she was fun, and I really appreciated her and the gesture that my mother-in-law would get her for me. And I would actually, look for costumes for her that I would then put on my wish list for my mother-in-law to buy, because this was her thing to do and I knew she had fun doing that. So, and then as a result, the online algorithms would push other things into my view. And so that is how I became exposed to Blythe, and then also Pulip. At the time that I started getting more and more into doll collecting, and then ultimately watching Dolly YouTube, American Girl was a part of that, even though I was still like not anti-American Girl, but like, my stance was I am not at all interested. They are not for me. I nonetheless really enjoyed watching American Girl, like doll collection videos and videos on like the different accessories. It's just a lot of fun, and just it was very satisfying to see people who just took so much joy in their collections. So fast forward to April of this year. I think there were a few factors that ultimately drove me toward an 18-inch American Girl doll. One of them being that a friend who lives in the UK and had never previously been a doll collector got an American Girl doll and just kind of went down the whole rabbit hole of American Girl. And we had a Dolly meetup where she showed her, I think it was a Truly Me. And then I showed her Emerson, and we just got to talking and had a really fun time. And yeah, it was then where it's just like this infectious joy, right? Obviously, this doll and this like newfound hobby gave her so much joy, and it just got me thinking, maybe I should look into one of these dolls. So I was definitely more curious about American Girl and started doing some research, looking different dolls up, and it was between Corinne, the 2022, I think, Doll of the Year, and number 124, which tracks because they have the same face mold. Um, and I was a little hesitant about Corinne because, well, one, I knew she was retired, so I wasn't sure how easy it would be to get her, which it turns out it's actually not that hard. She's still available online in certain places, but the price is now higher because she is in fact retired. And her hair as well. She's got these beautiful blue streaks, which is normally my cup of tea. I love like fantasy hair on dolls, and so that is totally up my alley. Her having that kind of splash of color, but then I also wondered if that would be limiting in terms of like the clothes that I would be able to dress her in. And then it came down to just my generally questioning myself, like, Julie, why now this interest in American Girl? Like, what is really behind this? And again, I think it's the infectious joy, wanting to experience that. Definitely like American Girl as its own culture and like the community surrounding that, to experience that, certainly. Also, at that point in time, I feel like my own doll collection was stalled. I wasn't really seeing anything in terms of like upcoming or new releases that inspired me or got me excited. And so I thought, oh, maybe this American Girl thing would be something new to try. And then, on top of that, 2025 being, well, a difficult year for many of us. And for me, my life has definitely been directly affected by certain things going on. Like this was a distraction. It was a welcome distraction for sure. So I do give myself credit in that I really was trying to be mindful and ask myself these questions about the motivations behind my interest in a doll that I never had any interest in. Another thing about American Girl is that, they are younger looking. And in general, I tend to like the older looking dolls. So that was another factor to consider. So, with all of these considerations, I did not run out and buy an American Girl doll right away. So from April to end of July, I sat on it and I just decided, just put this on the back burner, give myself time to kind of cool off. Then at a certain point a few weeks ago, I got wind of the fact that a Dolly friend had purchased a couple American Girl dolls. And then another friend had also acquired a couple dolls. And I'm just like, what's going on? Is this a coincidence? Is this a sign? So tail end of July, I was having a bad evening and I thought, I'm going to comfort myself with some shopping. So I went on to eBay and that's where I had been actually searching for these dolls because I wanted to buy one pre-owned, given that I didn't know whether I would get on with these dolls or not. And so I'm on eBay and this fairly new listing comes up for Corinne. She is at a reasonable price. And from the pictures, she's looking like she's in great condition. I messaged the seller to ask her some questions. And then, after feeling more comfortable about this doll, I made an offer, which they accepted. And then, what do you know? I have this doll being shipped to me, and I received her only a few days ago. Okay, here she is. These are hefty dolls. So anyway, again, I bought her pre-owned. And then also, she came with her stock. She came with the book. But I wanted something that was a little more less wintry in terms of like a seasonal outfit. So on eBay, once again, I found this retired outfit. So we have this piece here. This is the dress. And then you have the shirt, this blue shirt going underneath. And the boots. So I bought these on eBay, pre-owned as well for a great price. And then, obvi, I had to buy this awesome outfit from the American Girl website. I mean, how could I not? Like, look at these skates and just the whole fit. I mean, the whole look. And she even comes with, or the outfit comes with this little tie here. Anyway, perfection, right? So this is all I have so far. And now that I have her, what do I think? I really like her. I think she's a lot of fun. And what was initially a turnoff for me, which is like this dual material body, this like cotton part versus like the vinyl, I now understand. Because while visually it's still not my favorite, from a tactile experience, from like a huggability, experience, it's quite comforting. And, I can't do this with my other dolls like I can with Corinne. So I get it now. I don't regret my decision to get Corinne as opposed to 124 because, despite the color of this hair, I think it's not going to be all that limiting in terms of clothing options. I usually gravitate toward purples and pinks and yellows and those types of colors anyway, which are very complementary to Corinne's hair. So I don't think that's going to be a problem. And I also like that, I kind of have the pair now, right? Because I think that Emerson was the model for Corinne's younger sister, Gwen. At least, in the stories and just from other stock pics that I feel like I've seen of Corinne, sometimes she's paired up with Emerson. A friend on a Dolly Discord had mentioned that she felt like out of, all the dolls she has, that the American Girl doll was like the most fun to shop for in terms of, outfits and accessories. And, in the short time that I've had this doll, and despite the fact that I haven't purchased all the things for her, I have to say I agree because there's just so much out there that is widely available. I mean, here in the US anyway, because this is an American Girl doll, but if you set aside if you set aside the price point of some of these things, just going on the AG website and all of the outfits and accessories there, and then just so many other items available through other sites, including Etsy. I mean, it's just much easier, I feel, to shop for this doll as opposed to a lot of the other dolls that I have in my doll coven. So I'm still getting used to her. I'm not gonna lie. Oh God, I just love this outfit. Like this, like putting her in this sheer unfiltered joy. Just, it so good. And experiences like that, that's what helps me to feel like, okay, I'm getting it. I get it. I understand the appeal. She's very cool. I think that this is one of those situations where, like with other hobbies that we explore, you won't know about a thing until you actually get it in person and have a firsthand experience with it. And it could be the case that, something that you had doubts about, weren't sure about, you get that thing and then you discover how much you love it and enjoy it and how much value it brings to you. And then it could be the opposite case. The thing that you were so excited to get, totally your cup of tea, you get it and you realize that you are just very underwhelmed by it and don't enjoy it at all. So I, again, don't regret getting her. And I, think that for now, she is going to be, I know I say this and it's like jinxing myself, but I truly do believe this, that at least for the time being, that Corinne is going to be the only American Girl aside from Emerson that will be in the coven for the time being. There is one other doll that I did enjoy, which is Moana. And if down the line I got her, it would be to restyle her. And it's not necessarily that I collect Disney Moana, but just that I think she is a beautiful doll. I think she has Corinne's face mold, which that tracks. So, maybe down the line, but for now, I'm just enjoying Corinne and Emerson. Yeah, I really want to take the time to see if this is a lasting relationship before I invest in any more dolls. Outfits and accessories are a different story. But yeah, I think for me, what it comes down to is that the American Girl culture and the American Girl doll community, it's as much about that as it is about the doll itself. I mean, gosh, if I had an offline friend who was also a doll collector, who had American Girl, who was local, I would love for us to go to an American Girl cafe and have that experience. Call me crazy, but I would love that. So yes, this is where I am right now in terms of the latest addition to the doll coven. I'm still letting it sink in. I'm still processing. Even my husband was shocked. He was like, I cannot believe you got one of those. I can't believe it. And I was just like, yeah, tell me about it. And yet here we are. Please do share your stories with me about any type of doll or doll brand where you initially said, absolutely not my thing, will never become part of my doll collection. And then lo and behold, you have several of them. I would love to know about that. So thank you so much for staying with me through this whole ramble, if you did, and I will catch you in the next video. Take care.